Hello, welcome to my second video on the YouTube channel. So this is not going to be a video this is not going to be a stream cut down. I haven't even done my first stream. I'm recording this in the same night as my first video, my intro video. What I want to talk about today. This is something that I've been thinking about for a while. Well, not a while. A little while. Basically, it's talking about Cyberpunk. I know this was something talked about last week, but this is something I wanted to talk about. So this game, quite the launch, very, very rough. I wanted to talk about basically everything that went on with the release, mainly just how flawed CD Projekt Red took the release. I'll go into everything I want to talk about. But first, just I played this game. I actually secured a PS5 pre-order on the second round pre-order, so I actually played it on PS5. So a lot of these issues going on with last gen, like PS4, Xbox One, I did not get. My game was a little buggy. It crashed a couple times, but it was nothing game breaking. Well, the game breaking, it did crash, but it was nothing that made it unplayable, I guess is what I should say. It looked fine. It looked good. It didn't run like shit, but it worked. I got it to work. I played through the whole game actually, and it's actually a pretty good story. But let's just talk about everything that went on. So Cyberpunk release. It's been hyped up for 8 years. I actually didn't know about it until about a year or two ago, whichever E3 Keanu Reeves came out on. And I was very excited for this game. I saw this game. I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. They did Witcher, and I was like, oh sweet. They did Witcher 3. I really like that game, so I'm like, Cyberpunk's gonna be awesome. So I saw the release time coming up. I had it written down. I have a whole notes in my phone of new games coming out. If it's coming out later, I usually put the date. So this one I was like, all right, cool. Let me put down Cyberpunk 2077 in there. Try to keep up with news on it. So I'm keeping up with the news as it comes out, and then it gets hit with that first delay, and I'm like, okay. I believe the first delay was during COVID, so I was like, all right, COVID pushed it back. Understandable. A lot of studios are going to do that. And then it got a second delay, and then a third. And that's when I really knew that, all right, something's going on here. I got very worried for the game after the second delay. I got worried about how good it was going to be. I knew at that point they probably had the story done, so I wasn't worried about the story. I was worried about how the game would run, how it would play. So I was kind of sitting there and I'm like, all right, let's see how it turns out. So it got delayed, and then I was keeping up with the news. I'm like, all right, oh, maybe this will be good. So when it actually came out, I was like, I'm not gonna get it. And then it got ripped apart. As soon as people start playing on PS4, Xbox One, nobody liked it. And that's when I was like, okay, this is not gonna be that good. Not good in the aspect, as I mean in gameplay wise. I'm like, all right, I don't know if I want to put out the money for this. So I was like, hey, you know what? Let's throw the money out there, see what happens. So I put out the $60 and I got Cyberpunk. Played on PS5, played the game all the way through. Game glitched. It crashed a couple times, but that was really it. So then after after I beat the game, I still haven't actually fully. I usually when I've started getting into a habit where when I play a game, I beat it 100%. I do everything you can. Cyberpunk has a lot to offer in the exploring aspect of Night City. There is a lot of side missions. I'll actually maybe in the video I'll put up a picture of how many side missions I've left on the map, but it's a lot. So while I was playing it on PlayStation 5, I'm like, all right, this is good. And then I kept reading about PS4, Xbox One, how bad it was, how it was glitchy, it looked bad. And then I really started to just like dive into everything that was going on with last gen. And I just saw how poor it looked. They said they only focused on the PC version, which I get. PC, huge market for PC gaming, but they also didn't consider last gen. I don't know. I feel like there was no quality control when it came to last gen. I don't know how they didn't know it didn't run well. I don't know how they didn't know it didn't look good. It doesn't make sense because the only way to know that Cyberpunk wasn't going to look good on last gen is if you didn't even try it on there. You can tell that they either never looked at it, which seems impossible, or they just pushed it out. They're just like, release it. It needs to be released. Do it. We'll fix everything after it comes out, which happens with a lot of games. I mean, there's a lot of games that they have the day one patch, not that good when it first comes out, and then like a day or two later gets an update. But this one, it felt like it was just rushed, pushed out. They were tired of delays, which I get, but I think that they shouldn't have pushed it out so soon. They should have tweaked it. They should have told everyone, hey, we're pushing it back again. I know people would have been upset, but they weren't going to lose sales. They already had, I think it was 13 million in just pre-orders. Like, that's an insane amount. Like, you would not have lost any money if you kept pushing it back. You already had that many pre-orders. I personally would have preferred them to push it back, make it better so everybody can have the same experience playing the game in how good it was. Like, the story was phenomenal. I enjoyed the story. They worked Keanu Reeves into the story greatly. He was Johnny Silverhand. It worked perfect. And I was just very, I guess, upset that it got pushed out like that. That it was pushed out to everyone in such a not good way. I'm not saying the game's bad, nothing like against anybody who made the game. It just, in my personal opinion, I don't know how they could put out a game that didn't run well. Especially on last gen. I mean, last gen, I know we're in that transition to next gen now, but the last gen is still such a huge market. You can't put a new game out that's focused primarily on PC next gen gaming. When last gen, we all know how the pre-orders for PS5 and Xbox One went. PS5 pre-orders were hectic. They were insane. That is a whole separate video about it. I have my own experience with it. Other people have theirs. That was just, that was madness. So we know how many people actually got PS5 pre-orders. We know how many people got Xbox One pre-orders, Xbox Series X pre-orders. We know not a lot of people got them. And we know everything sold out like that. So I don't know how you could focus your game on next gen. I get you're trying to push the boundaries of what a console can do, but I think you should have, CD Projekt seriously should have looked at Cyberpunk last gen, saw how it looked, tweaked what they needed to tweak, and really focus on that. Because no matter what, if you focused on last gen, it would look good on next gen. Because you can run anything from last gen on next gen. So you would have known it would look good, and you could have came out with that PS5, which I know they're still doing, PS5, Xbox Series X, upgrades. So get that free upgrade to next gen. But I think if they didn't focus on PC next gen so much, they could have released this game and it could have been great. Like, if you look at the reviews, like IGN came out with a review for Cyberpunk, they're like 9, I think it was a 9 out of 10. But then they did a console review of PS4 and Xbox One, and it was like 3 out of 10 because of how bad it was. And anytime I think about Cyberpunk on last year, I just think of the one video of V in the subway, and it goes, the camera pans out the subway window. You just see the city just rendered really badly and then just crash. And I'm like, yep, that seems like how it's going on last gen. And I don't know how a company could release that and like keep their audience, I guess, because like I know they offered refunds, and the refunds thing was a whole thing. CD Projekt Red released, they're like, you can get refunds, but then PlayStation wouldn't refund. Then PlayStation was like, you know what, refund and we'll take it off the store because it's not good, it doesn't run great. So then they took it off the store, and I honestly think it was a good move on PlayStation's part. I personally did not get a refund. I was very happy with it on PS5, even though it was glitchy, buggy, would crash, but I didn't have as bad as an experience as people on PS4. And I personally have not tried on PS4 yet. Frankly, I'm a little scared to. I have my PS4 sitting like right here, and I could very easily boot it up. And I'm thinking I might possibly do a stream on Cyberpunk on PS4 just so everyone can come in on that journey through PS4 Cyberpunk and see how it runs. And this is the base model PS4. This is even the PS4 Pro. My system might crash. It might break. Who knows? But yeah, I wanted to talk about Cyberpunk and how they went about their release. I know everyone's comparing it to Witcher 3, like, oh, Witcher 3 had the same exact launch. They redid their whole system. They did. They really did. I don't remember the Witcher 3 launch because I never kept up with it then. I played it after the fact, like years after it came out. But I get that they can compare it, but I feel like the stuff they had to do for Witcher 3, from what I know about it, like I know it was very glitchy. They redid the movement system. They could have, like, I get that they're similar, the releases, but Cyberpunk, in my opinion, was definitely worse because you were cutting off a whole section of you're cutting off a whole section of people who want to play that game, and you're making it a worse experience for them. I just think that they really cut off a lot of people on PS4 and Xbox One, which is the biggest market right now. PC, PS4, Xbox One. PS5 and Xbox Series X are there, but they're not as big yet. Everyone's still in that transition period. Sony even said they think it's going to take 3 years for the complete transition to next gen. So I think Cyberpunk just was very poor in their release. And I think they screwed over a lot of people. No one knew what they were getting into. They didn't show any footage from PS4 or Xbox One. No one knew how it was going to look. No one knew if it was going to look good, look bad. They were kind of just throwing it and be like, good luck. Then they got it and they're like, wow, this is this is bad. I think that the way they released it was poor. I think they really cut off a lot of people. And I really hope it gets better. I know they came out with 2 hot fixes, 1.05, 1.06. And I hope that this update in January and February that they're promising, who knows? I'm hoping that it really does fix the issues on last gen. so those people in last gen are able to play. I would, I, I really hope it works out because Cyberpunk was a great game, and I think everyone should experience it. Great story, gameplay was like the controls were great, gameplay was great, and I think if they really put the time into it and made it good for last gen, or it's still current gen. I shouldn't say last gen. It would be everyone would enjoy it, and I really hope they fix it so everyone can enjoy this game. I think that's all I want to say about Cyberpunk. That was a 15-minute rant about just Cyberpunk. I had a lot to say about it. I didn't know I was gonna tweet about it actually on my Twitter. Link in the description. But, but I knew I had too much to say, so I wanted to make a video about it and just talk about everything that went on with Cyberpunk. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll leave my Twitch down. I'll have a stream. It will be my first stream this weekend. Twitter will be down there, probably Instagram too. Anything where you want to find me will be down there. But yeah, that's all I got for today, and I'll see you guys next time.